What up, guys? Welcome back. This is episode 2 of the Bankroll Challenge. We're resuming exactly where we left off, believe it or not. With the King 5, we do have backdoor draws, straight and flush draws. We're just going to check here. We got to check in the big blind. We can call this flop bet, definitely. We can check fold the turn. It doesn't help us in any way, shape, or form, but improves the under the gun range as opposed to our range, so we're just going to fold there. Ace-8 offsuit. We could open here. I think it's fine in this situation. We've got full stacks that are behind, so we have a lot of implied value. We do get 3-bet from the big blind. This is usually very strong a lot of the time. I do have Poker Tracker 4 running that you guys can't see. This player seems to be playing around 21-16, which is 21V pip 16 pre-flop raise. So I think I'm just going to fold, wait for a better spot. We could maybe call ace-8 suited in that situation because we A, are in position, and B, we can outflop and or outplay our opponent on the flop considering their range. But I think we'll just wait. With the Jack-10, this player seems to be limping pre-flop with aces 400 bigs deep, which is not good. That's bad. Extremely bad. I'm going to 3-bet with Jack-10. It seems relatively loose, especially since it's offsuit, but this player is apparently folding a decent amount. We flop relatively well, so I'm going to lead out here, obviously, with top pair. If we get raised, it's really tough. Like, you would assume that they're flatting kings and aces if they're pre-flop limping. We still have to call this turn. Call this bet on the flop and check the turn. We pick up a gut shot as well. If they have queen jack, I don't think they're raising the flop. They may have a hand like queens, which I think they're checking down. If they have ace jack or king jack, it's super unfortunate, but we can't really bet out. If they do bet here, they could have 9-10, and obviously the turn completed them perfectly. If they bet river, it's tough for us to decide to fold in this situation. Wow, okay. So they had exactly queen 4, so they're doing it with complete air. So we have to make a note on that player. An interesting spot, they're calling a 3-bet in position with that sort of hand. Queen 4 suited. And then they're raising the flop because they assume it's quite dry. But if I have ace king, if I have aces, kings, queens, obviously ace jack, queen jack, I'm never folding a raise on the flop. So they're trying to bully us out of the hand in a spot where I think they could wait. Sure, we 3-bet with jack 10, which is arguably behind a queen 4 suited, but we're the aggressor, and they decided not to bet the turn and not to bet the river, which is an interesting spot. We are going to c-bet with our queens. A king, yeah, it's sort of scary, but we're not too worried about it. The 7 of spades is interesting. I will check call this. Ace we can bet out at, but essentially we're not getting a king to fold, and any ace x gets there. So I think just a check back here is fine. If we do get let into, I think it's a fold a lot of the time because we lose. We're just behind so much. I don't think 8s, 9s are betting on this board. Flushes get there on the turn, straight draws. The river brings more straight draws, and ace x that gets there. Yeah, we're getting a little over 3-1 to call, but we can only really put this player on hands like 6s, 8s, 9s, 10s, and jacks. But why would they need to lead out on the river? It doesn't make sense. So we're just going to fold there. Ace 3 offsuit, we're looking to steal here in the cutoff. With the king queen in the big blind, we possibly will be looking to defend. I think I might 3-bet. We're out of position. We're getting a decent price to go to the flop, but I'd rather take control of this pot now as opposed to waiting for a king or a queen. If we're against ace king, ace queen, you know, we'll see what happens. We can usually bet this flop and take it down. I like to bet relatively, you know, around 60-70% of the pot, I guess. If we get called, we have 2 overs. If we get raised, I think it's just a straight up fold. Obviously, we're not floating or calling a raise on this board. If they do have 8s, 9s, and 10s, they're usually just calling on this board too. So if a king or a queen hits the turn, we're fine. I'm going to barrel again. I feel like our hand is, we represent a lot of strength in this situation. We are out of position. If they do have a flush draw, they're usually calling again. If they have 8s, 9s, 10s, or jacks, they're calling. So we still have, in terms of what our perceived range is much stronger than theirs. So they're playing it much more passively. The jack on the river is interesting. We don't beat ace X of diamonds, but I still think we have to continue here. We have to shove the river. It's unfortunate if they obviously turn jacks full on the river, but I think we still have to barrel here. If they do have a hand like ace, king, ace, queen suited, they're folding. So how much do we have to bet? I think we don't have to bet a lot, but I think we have to bet enough to obviously get them to fold. If they do jam, we can easily fold and get away from it. The line that we take pre-flop is obviously continuing on the flop, the turn, and the river. There's no reason to give up here with king high because you're just losing a lot of equity. Hands like pocket 9s and 10s may fold now. It's unlikely that they're obviously going to fold a big hand like queens that have just been playing super passively, but we do take the opportunity to take it away from them by being aggressive. With the ace queen, we're going to 3-bet here. If this opponent like takes a lot of time and jams, they clearly have jacks full. But yeah, we do take it down. It's an interesting spot. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. 10L is an interesting situation where an opponent like that clearly is showing weakness in passive play. We just have to take advantage of it. We can't sit back and go, oh shit, my king high missed. Oh, of course they have ace jack, or of course they have this, or of course they have that. You know, you just have to be willing to put a decent bet in there to show or to continue the story, to make it look like we have it. And we did. Wink, wink. We had king high. I'm sure they had at least ace high. So we bet them off the best hand by continuing our story. With the 4-5, we're just going to fold. 6-8 is definitely a fold there. Ace-7 suited is definitely an open in this situation. We will fold. Oh my god, this guy's just ripping it in. We could sit back and wait and watch what that player had, but it's unlikely that we'll see that player often at those stakes, especially if they're like jamming under the gun with 22-ish big blinds. King 6 offsuit on the button's an interesting spot. I will attempt to steal. 9-7. We can see that this player is... okay, so this is from 25 now. I'm assuming I've played with this player before. I'm going to 3-bet here because I feel like I've played a decent amount of hands with this player, and they will respect of raises, and they will assume my perceived range rather than just look at their 2 cards. So we're able to take this to the streets. Out of position, we could call with 9-7. I like a 3-bet. We do get 4-bet, which is interesting. I think we can call this flop or fold. This is an interesting spot. We are getting a decent price. I think I'm just going to... Oh, man, this is tough. Out of position, I think I'm just going to fold. With the queens, I'm just going to check top set. There's not a lot out there. We did 3-bet pre, so we want to make this player... And I will just call. We do block a diamond. The 9 shouldn't change too much. Obviously, we still have the nuts. What can I do on the river? Value bet small or get it in? I can check a lot of the time. But I think this player, given the fact that they snap check the turn, I can just bet for value here. And they call us down. I'll let you guys know exactly what they had. They had ace-9. So yeah, I don't think if we jammed the river that they would call, but I think that small value bet is a little bit eerie for them. Specifically that they still have a stack to remain or have some chips behind them. I'm going to call with the 5-6. We're getting 3-1. We're suited. We're out of position, but we play well multi-way post-flop. If we do get squeezed, then that's unfortunate. We do flop an open and straight draw. There are clubs. This is an interesting lead out. This gives us really good odds just to call here. If we see a raise, we have to pretty much fold. A lot of people will continue. If this gets raised to like $1.40, I see a lot of people continuing with 5-6 on this board. It just doesn't make sense. So now we're going to open and straight draw. We want to see a non-club, ideally 3 or 8. An ace is actually not the best card. This guy just snap fold. Now I have to bluff, and I have to overbet or bet rather large in the pot because I want this player to fold a queen. I want them to fold. Okay, so I don't know. This is an interesting hand, guys. We wanted them to definitely fold. Because we were playing pretty much the board in that situation. And they pretty much gave up instantly. So I could have bet maybe 60% pot, but I like betting a little bit bigger to say, hey, I've got an ace or a king, or better, fold your queen 8, fold your queen 10, etc., etc. With the king 5, just to fold. With the 2 7s on the button, we're going to look to open here, definitely. Interesting board. Obviously, big blind. I think that we're able to see bet here quite often. We're only really scared of an ace-x in the small blind, and they're usually just calling. The turn is a 6. We can check back here, definitely. River's a 10 shouldn't change too much. If they have an ace, they'll lead out here. If they have a missed flush draw, they'll also lead out. This pot size bet to me is a little bit interesting. They defended, they called the flop. They checked the turn and then for some reason decide to pot the river. Very polarized spot. They're playing 4 tables. I think I'll wait. I think it's better just to fold there. They could have 10x, ace-x, and or better. So I think it's better to wait in that spot. It's like close. It's so close. If I had more time bank, I might have found a call there. With the queen deuce suited, we're definitely going to defend in the big blind. We flop relatively badly, but backdoor draws. We can call here. Any diamond, a 10's obviously nice. A queen maybe. King's interesting too. The river brings us the flush. I think that we can just value bet here small. We can overbet actually if they have 10x. How often do they have 10x here? I think just I think betting small so they can raise with the 10 is fine too. And or getting value from sort of, okay. How often do we lose to the nut flush here? They're raising. I mean, we just have to sort of go with it here and go sort of high. Because we want to get super value from a 10. If they jam, I mean, how often are they jamming with just a 10? They could have queen 10. No, they fold. Okay, so that's fine. So getting that small bet on the river to make them raise is fine. I think maybe we could have raised less. Maybe we could have raised 2.5, 3x instead of going for that huge amount. But I just didn't see a 10. I see 10 snap calling that a lot. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. As we near the end of the episode 2, I would like to say I hope you enjoy this content. It's very fast paced. I know I talk a lot. Let me know your feedback in the comments down below. And once again, let me know if you're doing a similar bankroll challenge. With the 9s, we're definitely going to be calling here. We're out of position, but I think our implied odds are just too great if we flop a 9. That's not the best flop. It's not the worst. Do we call once on this board? Probably. I mean, we block hearts. They could have ace-king, ace-queen suited. The 4 doesn't change a lot. If they bet huge, it's tough for us to continue here because they're continuing their story. I don't think flush draws would be betting huge on the turn here a lot of the time. They might. But I think it's usually a made hand. That river's interesting. Can we value bet small? Probably. We can get ace highs to call us here. On the river. With around a 3rd pot size bet. If they raise, it's like, what? Like, what are you doing? So yeah, our 9s do take it down there. And obviously with the kings on the right that you just saw, I have to isolate and they just simply fold, which is horrible to limp fold in that situation. A6, we're just folding in that spot. All right, guys, thank you for watching. This concludes part 2 of the grinding challenge, going from 2-L all the way as high as we can in Zoom. I didn't really record any of the 2 and 5-L because it's pretty standard stuff. I mean, if you guys want to see my whole videos, you'll see me playing those stakes anyway. Pretty horribly too. Let me know what you think. Any thoughts, comments, suggestions. Please subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it and or are doing a similar challenge and you'd like to keep up. I'll be posting these for the foreseeable future, and I'll see you guys very, very soon.